One very important aspect in terms of which the world around us has changed and is continuously changing is education. Now, when we talk about education, it's changing in two different ways. The first one being the obvious change in the economic model. The whole idea of education since the time of its inception has been to enable people to be able to earn their livelihood. This means the business has to grow. The second aspect nowadays has to do with the various cultures which are there in the world. Now, people coming from different cultures are coming together and are working together. Though they may sound like two different aspects, first one being the economic aspect and the second one being the cultural aspect, they are very much intertwined. More and more companies nowadays are working across borders. So if there is a company from North America, they are taking their products to Europe, they are outsourcing their IT related work to India and other emerging markets. And hence more and more companies nowadays are working across the borders of their origin countries and are also hiring people from different backgrounds and different cultures. Once that starts happening, a very interesting phenomena occurs. When we start looking at the holistic picture by joining both the economic and the cultural aspects, the way we work with people coming from different cultures directly affects the productivity of the company. Now let us look at this using a couple of examples. I'm sure you all use toothpaste to brush your teeth in the morning. You do this to make sure that you have refreshing white teeth. So what happened is when Pepsodent tried selling their product in Southeast Asia by emphasizing that it will whiten your teeth, they were amazed to see that nobody was buying the toothpaste. Do you know which strategy went wrong? They found that the locals in the Southeast Asia chew betel nuts to blacken their teeth, which they found attractive. This happened to Pepsodent because they were not aware of the culture of that place, Southeast Asia. Now let's take a second example. US and British negotiators found themselves at a standstill when the American company proposed that they table particular key points. Now in the US, tabling a motion means not to discuss this, while the same phrase in Great Britain means to bring it to the table for discussion. Now among all this confusion, how will you be able to do business? In a very famous example, one of the American company went all the way to Middle East in terms of business negotiations. After much of the discussion successfully over, the American businessman was offered coffee. Now in this part of the world, as you know, is very hot. So the American politely refused the offer of coffee. Now such a rejection is considered very rude and the business negotiations became stalled. What we are trying to understand from this particular program is how to be globally effective. We are going to learn to be globally effective using three different terms. The first term which we will learn is perceptions. Now knowingly or unknowingly, we form a lot of perceptions by reading books or watching movies or reading a lot of novels or by meeting people from different cultures. Now understanding perceptions in detail will give you the idea that it may sometimes create a lot of hindrances. The second one is the iceberg analogy. Now I'm sure you all have seen icebergs and you know that only a part of the iceberg is visible above the water and the big huge part is invisible. Now we'll understand the iceberg analogy from the perspectives of cultures. And the third and most important part are the cultural models. Now this is based on the Hofstede's model and it will help you on understanding the various cultural domains. You need not understand each of the 7 billion people on this planet. You just have to go through 4 different cultural models. The understanding of these cultural models is one of the strongest weapons you have as you venture into the world full of numerous cultures. I'm sure you'll have a nice learning experience at the end of which you'll be a globally effective person. Have fun.